Okay, so I'm done with the 4L80. I don't know why, I just don't want to mess with it anymore. So, that, and because I'm going to go back to a factory, I'm going to try to put all the factory wire harness back in it. I'd like to have the speedo work. And I'm sure there's converter signal converter things out there, but I'm pretty sure I can stick a 46RE speed sensor in this 727 and it'd be totally fine, not knowing that it's not the 46. Yeah, see, look, I even have the factory speed sensor from the first time I had this in here. So it looks like we're gonna have to change quite a bit because the 80 doesn't use a TV cable. The 80 uses cooler lines on the passenger side. What else? So I gotta drag that out. There's a few more blocks. There's a 4-bolt splayed cap. There's a nice splayed cap motor that's full of concrete. And boxes of Jeep parts. So, okay, I guess I gotta start taking the adapter out of the GM transmission adapter out of the Jeep here. Okay, so the 80's not going back in. We're gonna put the 727 in. So none of these bolts are coming loose. So I gotta cut them or drill out the heads and pop them off. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so none of these bolts, these panhead bolts want to come out. So now we tried drilling some of them and now it's too much work. So we're just gonna weld a nut to them and take them out. How evasive.
Hell yeah, brother.
Get the old zippy hooked up.
All right, so it's out. We had to weld nuts to all of the little panhead bolts and take them out. Evasive and I both got burned.
Hell bad.
I get right there, come on. I ran out.
I'm back at the garage a few hours later. I gotta take care of some stuff at home. So here's the magic box of bolts. Ethan always makes fun of me because every time I take apart something, you know, there's always extra bolts and it always gets thrown in here. So 90% of this is like Chrysler, this and that, interior trim pieces and old exhaust parts and stuff that came in kits of stuff that got, you know, not used. All right, so it was under here for the last like 3 years. 727. It has a shift kit in it. It's got a TSI converter. It has, well, I took it apart and replaced all the clutches with whatever those red ones are. I don't know. But I mean, I drove this thing for a couple of years and it was great. And I just felt like I was blowing through third gear. But I think the real problem was I just had a ton of back pressure, so the motor laid over up top. But this was behind one of those concrete motors there. One of those is full of concrete and splayed cap, internally balanced thing. I turned 7,000-ish, and this thing didn't have a problem with it at all. So I think I found the last little bit of bolts. I'm sure I'm missing something here. So I've got ARP converter bolts from that, and I've got all the factory bell housing and starter bolts and whatnot. All right, I forgot how much I love this thing already. That you cannot pick up by yourself unless you want to blow your back out, let alone carry it somewhere. This thing, full of fluid and a converter, I just picked it up like nothing, walked all the way up here, set it down next to this one. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I found all the hardware. I mean, converter, the old ARP stuff that I was sure I got rid of, the flex plate bolts. I even found the 2 factory, and if you've ever had to do a crank sensor, you know that these are the factory ones, so they have those stupid Allens in it because these are such a pain in the ass to get to behind a keg intake. And this is probably the new one that I put in before deleting everything in the car. But anyway, you know, I'm one that throws away everything I'm not using. And except I always have a bucket of bolts. And I found every single piece of factory hardware to put this thing back together. And I found a spare flex plate in one of the containers. All right, so that's it for today. This is where we're sitting. I need to cut the Crossmember, all the bracket stuff that came off of it for the 4L80, so I can put the 727 back in. And then I'll probably do that tomorrow at work, or Monday at work, and then maybe Monday afternoon all day and meet me here, and we can muscle the thing up into the car and put the drive shaft in it and be done. I can drive this thing. I don't want to let this thing sit any longer. It does no good sitting. So things just get covered in cobwebs or start rusting or rotting. Okay, so I said I'd be back Monday to put the transmission in, but that didn't happen. I finally got the stuff cut off the Crossmember. It's like Thursday. I ended up having to do a bunch of work on my truck, and kind of sent me back, but whatever. So today I'm going to put all this in there. The only thing I got to do is put on the bracket to hook up all this stuff to my my B&M shifter. All right, like 30 minutes of digging, I finally found the 3-speed shifter gate and then all these brackets that I need. This Magnum Grip Pro stick, whatever, it came with all this stuff, but because I used a 4L80, I had to buy separate gate and brackets and stuff to mount it all. So I go, let's see, is that one even still on there? No, it's all gone. Anyway, so I got to figure out which one of these. I know this one's Chrysler, and then I think, honestly, this looks like 4L80 too. I don't know why I bought that. Anyway, I think this is a Chrysler too. Anyway, okay. Yeah, super simple. That just that bracket, and this one goes on, and then the B&M cable goes, tightens down in there, and you adjust it from your 0 point, your park point, and then you run it all the way to low gear and figure out if you're out of alignment or out of adjustment, blah blah. So now all I gotta do is, and I took the bracket off. This one, it's funny because this is the bracket off my 46 RE, and it goes perfectly on the 727. So when I had this transmission in the car, I still use the factory shifter, like the leather wrap knob and the wood grain trim and all that stuff. And I keep talking about how I want to go back to it, but this shifter's kind of badass, and it was a lot of money, so no reason to take it off and just not use it. And I think most of that support stuff is ruined, but I do have the donor. So anyway, I'm just going to keep this for now. I will save all these pieces and parts in case I want to go back to the stock shifter, which I probably won't. Again, this thing looks pretty cool. So, okay, I'm going to put this on the trans jack and plug up every little hole that might leak as I maneuver this thing up there, and then probably put that in there and put this in there first, and then chicane the thing up in there. Hopefully it'll be done here shortly. Okay, factory crank sensor is in, flywheel in, Loctited. Of course, spilled Loctite everywhere. Okay. Should have taken a time lapse because this one actually went pretty easy. I got it up on the jack under here and slapped the converter in it, popped it up there, popped it around the dowels, slid some bolts in. Here we go, lickety split. So I got to take the 4L80 bracket off of this, run it through the original channel up in there somewhere, and then rehook it up to this deal here. I need to replace this temperature sensor and drain all the fluid. I need to make a nutsert to put in the frame rail because I cut a hole in the side to move this forward originally, but the 80 used the original location points. I need to go through my 80 wiring harness here and figure out which one is the pressure transducer and which one is the temperature switch or temperature sensor, so I can just directly wire it to the temperature sensor in here, and then my line pressure transducer that's over here, and then the VSS speed doesn't really matter because as of right now I'm picking up my speed out of the ABS reluctor in my Ford 88. I guess I could slam the drive shaft in. Let's see what else needs to be done. I need to run new cooler lines because these ones going to the other side, and it's going to involve kind of rerouting a bunch. I ordered a Chinese I ordered a Chinese AN kit, so that will be perfect. And then the other thing I got to figure out is 727 uses a TV cable, so that isn't really that big of a deal. But on the old throttle body I had on here, I welded a dowel in it with one of these things on there, and then another dowel so that I would be able to draw the full stroke when I went through it. I guess that's kind of, I mean, this was honestly a lot easier. I should have done this. I should have gone back to this thing a long time ago. I don't know why I've been screwing around with that 4L80 for so long. Probably need to start doing like an outro or even an intro, I guess, if I want to keep making these videos. But like, subscribe, comment, ask questions.